The stars stretched across the endless black of space. Millions of lights sparkled, but to Kayla they all felt cold and empty. She sat alone in the pilot's chair of her small ship, her yellow eyes staring at the distant glow of a nebula. She was an alien girl, young in years yet old in pain. Her heart carried a heavy truth. She believed she was the last of her kind. Kayla was a Deathworlder. Born on a planet where life was a constant battle, she had grown up in storms of fire, earthquakes, and skies filled with predators. Her people had always said, "Only the strongest survive." And Kayla had survived, but she had lost everything. Her home was gone, her people wiped out, and her voice was the only one left in the silent dark of space. Every night she remembered their faces. Warriors, hunters, survivors, proud people who could crush stone with their hands and run for days without rest. And yet the galaxy feared them. Other species looked at Deathworlders with terror, whispering legends of their strength. Kayla had never asked for such power, but now it was a curse. Because of it, she had no one left. She closed her eyes, whispering to herself, "I am alone." The last Deathworlder. Her ship hummed quietly as it drifted between stars. Kayla traveled system to system, never staying long. Sometimes she landed on alien stations, hiding her true nature. She had learned to wear a hood, to keep her strength hidden. To strangers, she was just another traveler. But inside, she knew the truth. No one could understand her. Her chest ached with loneliness. Days blended into weeks, weeks into months. She had stopped counting how long it had been since she had heard a voice that felt like home. She sometimes wondered if the universe was punishing her for surviving when her people had not. One night, as she sat in her dark cabin, the ship's sensors beeped. Kayla frowned. Out here, in a forgotten corner of space, there should have been nothing. She leaned forward and tapped the console. A signal appeared on the screen. It was faint, but it was alive. Kayla's heart skipped. At first, she thought it was a trick of the system. But no, the scanner was clear. Somewhere nearby, another being was sending out life signs. Strong ones. Her eyes narrowed. Most alien signals were soft, weak, fragile. But this one burned bright. Like hers, her throat went dry. Could it be? Could there be another like her? Another Deathworlder? For the first time in years, her heart filled with hope. She whispered to herself, "No, it can't be. I am the last. I am alone." But the signal was real. Kayla set her ship on course, moving slowly toward the source. The closer she came, the clearer the readings grew. The life force was strong, resilient, a survivor's signal. She could almost feel it pressing against her own, like two flames refusing to be put out. Her hands trembled as she thought of her people. Had one of them escaped? Had someone else survived the slaughter? The thought made her chest ache with both joy and fear. But as her ship drifted into orbit around a barren moon, her console displayed a word she had not expected. A word she had only seen whispered in galactic reports, half forgotten and dismissed. Human Kayla blinked in confusion. Humans were nothing special, or so the galaxy said. They were young, fragile, a species from a small blue planet called Earth. Traders mocked them. Scholars ignored them. Soldiers laughed at their weakness. But the scanner told a different story. This signal was not weak. It was strong, almost too strong. Her heart pounded as she stared at the screen. Could the galaxy be wrong? Could humans be like her? Kayla bit her lip. 1,000 thoughts stormed her mind. She had survived by avoiding notice, by hiding her Deathworlder blood. If she revealed herself now, if she reached out, everything could change. Her chest tightened with fear. What if this human was dangerous? What if they betrayed her, or worse? What if the signal was only a trap? The silence of the ship pressed down on her. She felt the weight of the decision. For so long she had begged the stars for a sign, and now here it was. The console beeped again. Louder, stronger. The human signal was locking onto her ship. Kayla's blood ran cold. Whoever they were, they had just discovered her. The hum of the engines grew louder as her systems flickered with warning lights. Her heart raced. For the first time in years, Kayla was not the hunter. She was being watched. She rose from her seat, her sharp eyes fixed on the screen. The signal pulsed steadily like a heartbeat in the void. And in that moment, Kayla felt the weight of destiny pressing against her. She whispered into the silence of the cabin, "So, I am not alone after all." But the question burned inside her. Was this human a friend? Or was this the beginning of something far more dangerous? Kayla stood frozen as the signal flashed across her ship's console. Her chest rose and fell in quick breaths. For years she had believed her people were gone. She had believed that Deathworlders were extinct. Yet now, something had found her. The life signs were steady. Strong. Too strong for any normal species. The word burned on her screen. Human. Kayla whispered it like a question. A human? Her people had spoken of them only in passing. Small rumors traded between star systems. Humans, the galaxy said, were fragile. They broke bones easily. They needed air that was too thin, food that was too soft, and gravity that was too light. Other species called them harmless, insignificant. But this signal told another story. The human life force was sharp like steel in the dark. It pulsed with the same raw energy Kayla had always felt in herself. She gripped the arm of her chair, torn between hope and fear. If this human truly was a Deathworlder, then she was no longer alone. But if it was a trick, if it was a trap, then she was walking into danger she could not escape. The console beeped again. Her heart jumped. The human signal had locked onto her. They know I am here. Kayla's instincts screamed at her to flee. For years, survival had meant hiding. But another part of her, the part that had carried loneliness like a wound, pushed her forward. What if this was the chance she had been waiting for? Slowly, she reached for the comm switch. Her fingers trembled. Before she could press it, a voice cut through her ship's speakers. Unidentified vessel, the voice said, calm but firm. You are in restricted space. Identify yourself, Kayla's breath caught. The voice was deep, steady, and strangely human. It carried no fear, no weakness. Instead, it sounded like command. She hesitated. Then in a low voice, she answered, I am Kayla. Who are you? There was silence. Then the voice replied, Commander Alex Carter. United Earth Fleet. Kayla's eyes widened. The name meant little, but the words echoed in her chest. United Earth. Humans had fleets. Humans had commanders. She pressed her lips together. You are human? Yes, the voice answered. And you are not. Kayla's heart thudded. He knew. He had noticed. She could not hide forever. I am different, she said carefully. Where I come from. The galaxy calls us Deathworlders. There was a pause. For a moment, Kayla feared he would laugh, that he would mock her the way others did. But instead his voice grew quiet, heavy with meaning. Then you are like us. Her hands froze over the controls. Her mind struggled to understand. Like you? Earth, he said simply. Our homeworld. It is a death world too. The words struck Kayla like a storm. A death world? Humans? She shook her head. It couldn't be. Yet his voice carried truth, and the strength in his signal matched her own. Kayla's lips parted, her voice breaking. That cannot be. I thought I was the last. You're not alone, Alex said. His voice softened, but it still carried strength. I've seen things on Earth that would kill most species in an instant. We survive storms that tear cities apart, creatures that hunt us in the dark, lands that burn and freeze. We don't give up. We endure, her chest tightened. For years she had carried the weight of her survival like a curse. Now in the void of space, a stranger's voice was telling her the same story. Could it be true? Could humans truly be Deathworlders? Kayla whispered more to herself than to him. So, I am not alone. But before Alex could answer, alarms blared through her ship. The console screamed with warnings. Kayla's eyes darted to the screen. Another ship was approaching, large, fast, armed. Her blood ran cold. On the comms, Alex's voice turned sharp. They've found us. Who? She demanded. The kind that doesn't want Deathworlders to meet, Alex replied grimly. Kayla's claws dug into her chair. She knew the type, pirates, hunters, or worse. Enemies who feared what she was. Enemies who would destroy her to erase the last trace of her kind. Her ship rattled as the enemy vessel fired a warning shot. The hull groaned. Kayla's heart raced. The comm crackled again. A new voice filled the cabin, harsh and full of venom. Deathworlders must not unite. It roared. Kayla's eyes widened. Her breath caught in her throat. They knew. They feared her. And the human. Her hands shook as she gripped the controls. She had wanted answers. She had wanted hope. Now she had found both, along with danger. The enemy ship powered its weapons. Red lights flashed across her console. Kayla whispered into the dark cabin. This is only the beginning. And for the first time in years, her loneliness was replaced not with peace but with fire, because now she had something to fight for. The enemy ship's shadow loomed large against the stars. Red lights flashed across Kayla's console, each one screaming danger. Her ship was small, fast, but no match for heavy weapons. She could feel the vibration through the hull, as if the universe itself wanted her gone. Across the comm, Alex's voice cut through the noise. "Stay close to me, Kayla. My cruiser will cover you." Kayla's hands tightened on the controls. She didn't trust easily. For years she had trusted no one. But in Alex's voice there was no fear, no hesitation, only strength. Against her instincts, she moved her ship closer. The enemy fired. Bolts of burning plasma streaked across the void. Kayla swerved, her body moving faster than thought, years of Deathworld reflexes guiding her. One blast struck her shields and the cabin shook violently. Sparks rained from the ceiling. She cursed under her breath. "I cannot take many more hits." "Then you won't," Alex replied. A deep roar echoed through the comms as his ship opened fire. Bright cannons lit the black sky, slamming into the enemy vessel. The pirate ship reeled but did not fall. Kayla's sharp eyes narrowed. The enemy was bigger but slower. If they worked together, her instincts screamed a plan into her mind. She opened the comms. "Alex, their starboard engines are exposed when they turn." "If you strike there, I see it," he answered quickly. His voice carried the calm of a seasoned warrior. Together, their ships moved like blades. Kayla darted fast and sharp, drawing enemy fire. Alex's cruiser followed with precision strikes, hammering the weak spot again and again. The pirate ship groaned under the damage. Its engines flickered. Then, with a burst of fire, one side of the vessel exploded. The enemy retreated, limping into the dark, leaving only silence and smoke in their wake. Kayla slumped back in her seat, her chest heaving. For the first time in years, she had not fought alone. Alex's voice came softly. "You handled yourself well." She blinked, staring at the comm unit. Praise. She had not heard praise in so long. "You too," she said awkwardly. There was a pause. Then Alex's tone grew firm. "Dock with me. We need to talk." Her pulse quickened. Meeting him face to face meant risk. If she revealed herself fully, if he saw the truth of what she was, he might turn against her. Yet something deep inside pushed her forward. Curiosity. Hope. Her ship latched onto his. The airlocks hissed. Metal doors slid open with a deep groan. Kayla stepped through first, her tall frame casting a shadow in the dim light. Her dark armor hugged her body, scarred and worn from countless battles. Her sharp eyes scanned the corridor. Then she saw him. Alex Carter stood waiting. His figure was broad, powerful, yet human. His uniform bore the insignia of Earth's fleet, but his face carried the weight of survival. A scar cut across his cheek, and his eyes, steady, unyielding, met hers without fear. For a long moment, they simply stared. Two Deathworlders, strangers in blood but equal in spirit. Kayla's voice was low, cautious. "So, you are human," Alex nodded. "And you are not. But I think we are more alike than different." She tilted her head, studying him. "The galaxy says humans are weak." He gave a short laugh. "The galaxy hasn't seen Earth. On our world, everything wants to kill us. The air, the land, the animals, the storms. We survive because we don't quit. Because we fight no matter what stands in our way." Kayla's breath caught. His words mirrored her own life, her own people. It was like hearing her childhood spoken back to her. Slowly, she stepped closer. "You mean, you live as we did? You are truly Deathworlders?" Alex's eyes hardened with truth. "Yes, and so are you." Her chest tightened. For so long, she had carried loneliness like a blade in her heart. Now, standing before him, she felt something she had thought lost forever. Belonging. But the moment was fragile. She forced herself to ask, why did they attack us? Why fear us so much? Alex's expression darkened. Because they know the truth. If Deathworlders unite, the galaxy will never control us. The words echoed in her mind. Fear. Control. That was why her people had been hunted. Why she had been left alone, her hands clenched into fists. Rage and sorrow twisted inside her. But Alex's steady presence anchored her. "You don't have to fight alone anymore," he said. His voice was quiet but strong. "Not while humanity stands." Kayla's throat burned. She wanted to believe him. She wanted it more than anything. But before she could answer, alarms blared through Alex's ship. A sharp voice broke over the comms. "Commander!" Multiple contacts incoming. A fleet, Alex cursed under his breath. He looked at her, his eyes hard. They didn't just want to scare us. They want to erase us. Kayla's blood ran cold. A fleet, dozens of ships. All hunting them. Her voice shook, but her spirit hardened. Then we fight. Together. The corridor trembled as the first blasts struck Alex's cruiser. Lights flickered. Metal groaned. Kayla's eyes locked with his. For the first time in years, she did not feel fear. Only fire. Because this was no longer just her battle. This was their battle. The walls of Alex's cruiser shook as enemy fire tore through the void. Alarms screamed, red lights flashed, and the voices of crew members shouted over the comms. The fleet had arrived, dozens of ships, their weapons glowing like angry stars. Kayla stood beside Alex in the command deck. Her sharp eyes scanned the tactical display. The enemy ships surrounded them like predators circling prey. Her claws curled at her sides. She had fought many battles before, but never against numbers like these. They came prepared, Alex muttered. His jaw tightened. They knew Deathworlders might join, and they want to crush us before it happens. Kayla's heart hammered. Because they fear us, she thought. They fear what we could become together. Shields at 70%, a crewman shouted. The ship shuddered again. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Kayla gritted her teeth. She hated waiting while others fought around her. She turned to Alex. Let me fight. He gave her a sharp look. This isn't just hand-to-hand. We're outnumbered. Kayla's golden eyes narrowed. I do not run. I do not hide. If I die fighting. For a moment, Alex stared at her. Then slowly he nodded. Good. Then let's show them what Deathworlders can do. He barked orders. The ship's guns roared to life, sending bright bolts of fire into the dark. Enemy vessels danced across the display, moving fast, returning fire even faster. Kayla gripped the console, her instincts reading the flow of the battle. There, she shouted, pointing. That frigate on the left, its shields are thin. Alex glanced, then snapped an order. The cruiser pivoted, unleashing a barrage. The enemy ship exploded in a burst of flame. For a heartbeat, Kayla felt the thrill of victory. But more ships closed in, filling the gap. Their combined firepower hammered Alex's cruiser, driving it back. Shields at 40%. Another voice cried. Kayla's claws dug into the console. We cannot win like this. Alex's eyes burned with defiance. We don't have to win. We just have to survive. The words struck her. Survive. That was the Deathworlder creed. To outlast no matter the odds. The battle raged on. Kayla moved like a predator, calling out weak points, helping the crew strike back with precision. Each time an enemy ship fell, her chest swelled with pride. But with every victory came more fire, more damage. The deck shook violently. Kayla was thrown against the wall, the air knocked from her lungs. Smoke filled the room. She coughed, her eyes burning. Engineering reports fires on Deck 3. Someone shouted, Seal it off, Alex barked. His voice cut through the chaos like steel. Kayla forced herself up, her body aching. She looked at him, standing tall in the storm, commanding his people without fear. For the first time, she truly understood. Humans were not fragile. They were unbreakable. Another explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered, dimmed, then returned. Kayla steadied herself, her mind racing. If we stay, we die. We need to break their line. Alex nodded, agreed. But we need a distraction. Her eyes burned with determination. Then I will give them one. Before Alex could stop her, Kayla moved to the airlock. She grabbed her armor, sealing it over her body. The plating clamped tight, scarred but strong. Her heart pounded with wildfire. She was Deathworlder. She was built to fight. Alex caught up, grabbing her arm. What are you doing? Her voice was steady, calm, buying us time. They fear Deathworlders? Then let them see why. For a moment, Alex's grip tightened. His eyes searched hers. Then he released her arm. His voice dropped low. Don't die out there. A strange warmth touched her chest at his words. She gave a fierce smile. I don't plan to, the airlock hissed open. Cold stars stretched before her. Kayla launched herself into the void. Her suit's thrusters flared, propelling her toward the nearest enemy vessel. Alarms blared in her ears, but she ignored them. The enemy ship loomed large, weapons blazing. With a roar that echoed only in her heart, she landed on its hull. Her claws dug into the metal like hooks. Inside, alien soldiers panicked. Their scanners screamed warnings. Intruder detected. Kayla tore open a hatch with brute force and stormed inside. Her presence was like fire through dry grass, unstoppable. Enemies charged her with weapons, but she moved like lightning. Her claws slashed, her strength shattered armor. Blood splattered the walls. She fought her way to the core of the ship. Sparks lit the corridor as alarms wailed. With a final strike, she drove her blade into the power conduit. The ship shook violently, flames consuming it from within. Kayla launched herself back into the void just as the vessel exploded behind her. The fire lit her armor in a red glow. From Alex's cruiser, the crew watched in awe. A single figure burning against the stars, destroying an enemy warship with her own hands. By the stars, a crewman whispered. She's a Deathworlder. Alex's eyes locked on her through the viewport. His jaw set, but his voice was calm. Yes, and she's not alone. Kayla drifted back toward the cruiser, her body weary but her spirit blazing. She landed in the hangar, pulling off her cracked helmet. Her chest rose and fell in ragged breaths, but her eyes burned with triumph. She looked at Alex and said, voice rough but strong, now they know what we are. But before he could answer, the ship's console screamed again. A massive shadow filled the screen, larger than anything they had faced so far. A supership, its weapons glowing brighter than a sun. The crew went silent. Even Kayla's breath caught. Alex's voice was low, grim. That is their flagship. Kayla stared at the looming monster of a vessel, her heart pounding. She had thought the last battle was survival. Now she realized it was only the beginning. The massive flagship hung in the darkness like a predator. Its armored hull gleamed under the light of distant stars, weapons charged, engines glowing with power. Kayla stood on the command deck beside Alex, her eyes locked on the monstrous vessel. Every instinct in her body told her the same thing. This ship was built to kill beings like her. The crew whispered in fear. Even Alex's hardened officers went silent at the sight of it. Why would they send something so large? For only us? Kayla muttered, her claws flexing against the railing. Alex's jaw tightened. His gaze never left the flagship. Because this isn't just about us. It's about what we represent. Kayla turned sharply. What do you mean? He looked at her with a weight in his eyes she hadn't seen before. Deathworlders are dangerous, Kayla. Not because we destroy, but because we survive. And survival cannot be controlled. That's what they fear most. Her heart thudded. Memories of her people's destruction came rushing back. The attacks, the silence that followed. The endless years of loneliness. She clenched her fists. So that is why my world was burned? Because we were too strong to be ruled. Alex's voice was grim. Yes. And if humanity hadn't been hidden in the far edges of the galaxy, Earth would have shared the same fate. The deck shuddered as the flagship fired a warning volley. Bright beams of energy streaked past the cruiser, close enough to rattle every panel. The crew held their breath. Alex barked, "Evasive maneuvers." The ship dove hard, engines roaring, but Kayla's mind was far away. Her people had been erased not because they were monsters, but because others feared what they could become. The galaxy had written them out of history, calling them extinct, and now she realized they were trying to do the same with humanity. A bitter whisper left her lips. They lied to me. They lied to everyone. Alex's voice snapped her back. Kayla, focus, we're still alive, and that means we still have choices. The words cut through the haze. She turned, her golden eyes fierce again. Then we must know the full truth. No more lies. No more shadows. Alex hesitated, then nodded. Agreed. I have access to restricted archives in the Earth Fleet database. Information the galaxy doesn't want us to see. If we can reach the data core before the ship takes us apart, we might learn why they fear us so much. The cruiser rocked violently, lights flickering as another blast grazed the shields. The air smelled of smoke and burning wires. Time was running out. Where is this core? Kayla demanded. Alex pointed to a lower deck. Follow me. They moved quickly through the corridors, the sounds of battle echoing around them. Alarms, shouting, the groaning of metal under pressure. Kayla's steps were silent but sure, her body tense like a predator stalking through a storm. They reached a sealed chamber deep inside the ship. Alex entered codes, the door hissing open. Inside, a glowing console bathed the room in blue light. Rows of data crystals pulsed within armored racks. This is it, Alex said, stepping forward. The truth they tried to bury. Kayla's claws hovered over the console. For a moment, fear touched her. Fear of what she might discover. But she forced it down. She had lived too long in the dark. Alex began accessing the files. Symbols and words scrolled across the screen in alien tongues, then translated into plain text. Kayla leaned closer, her eyes narrowing as the words appeared. Project Silence, containment of Deathworld species. Her breath caught. Alex's hands moved faster, unlocking more files. Images flashed. Her people, warriors standing tall, entire cities burning under fleets of alien warships. Another file showed Earth, marked in red with the label, Potential Threat. Kayla's claws dug into the console. They exterminated us, not because we attacked, but because we existed. Alex's voice was hard, controlled. They tried to erase the evidence, to make the galaxy believe Deathworlders were myths. That's why no one speaks of your kind. That's why humanity was mocked as weak. It was all part of their plan. Kayla's chest burned with rage. For years she had carried the shame of being the last, believing her people had failed. But now she saw the truth. They had not failed. They had been hunted. Her voice shook, but it carried fire. They wanted me broken, alone, but I will not be their ghost. I will not be their silence. Alex looked at her, his expression fierce. Then don't be. Humanity is still here. You are still here. Together we can show the galaxy the truth. They can't silence us both. Before Kayla could respond, the ship lurched violently. The lights went out, plunging the chamber into darkness. The flagship had struck again, harder this time. Red emergency lights flickered on. Over the intercom, a crewman's panicked voice screamed, "Shields failing! Hull breach on Deck 5. Alex slammed the console shut, locking the files. He turned to Kayla, his eyes blazing. We know the truth. Now we have to survive long enough to share it. Kayla's heart thundered. She felt the fire of her ancestors in her blood, the strength of her people burning in her veins. She had been alone for so long. But now she was no longer the last Deathworlder. She stepped toward Alex, her voice a low growl. Then let them come. They will not silence us again. The ship trembled as the flagship prepared its next devastating strike. And for the first time in years, Kayla did not feel fear, only fury. The flagship moved like a giant shadow across the stars. Its weapons glowed brighter than suns, each blast shaking Alex's cruiser to its core. Smoke filled the corridors. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The crew worked frantically, voices sharp with fear, but their commander stood tall in the chaos. Alex Carter's voice rang out, "Hold the line! We are not finished yet." Beside him, Kayla stood unshaken, her golden eyes glowing with fire. Her claws dug into the console, her breath steady despite the storm. She had lived through worse than this. Storms of fire, skies filled with predators, worlds tearing themselves apart. To her, battle was survival and survival was life. But never before had she fought with someone else at her side. Never before had she felt the strange strength of trust. The ship shook again, nearly throwing her off her feet. "Shields at 20%, a crewman shouted. "We can't take another direct hit," another cried. Kayla turned to Alex. "Then we do not take one. Strike first." Alex's jaw tightened. His eyes flicked to the tactical display. "We're outnumbered 10-1. Her lips curled into a fierce smile. "Deathworlders don't count numbers. We fight." The crew stared at her, fear in their eyes, but something else too, hope. Her voice carried the weight of certainty, the kind that could turn despair into courage. Alex nodded. "She's right. We're not running. All guns target their engines. Hit them where it hurts." The cruiser roared to life, weapons firing in a storm of light. The flagship's shields flared, absorbing the damage, but smaller enemy ships darted into the fray. Kayla's sharp eyes scanned the chaos. "There," she shouted. "The corvette on the right, it's driving the formation." "Break it!" Alex gave the order and the crew obeyed. The cruiser's cannons hammered the target until it burst into flames. The enemy line wavered. Kayla felt her blood burn. This was how Deathworlders fought, not with fear but with fury. Yet the flagship did not slow. Its colossal guns lit again, and a devastating blast struck Alex's ship. The floor heaved. Kayla slammed against the railing, pain jolting through her body. Smoke poured from the vents, the lights flickering to red. "Shields gone," the crewman cried. For a moment, silence pressed heavy against them. Kayla rose slowly, her chest aching but her spirit unbroken. She met Alex's eyes. "Then we fight without shields." His lips tightened into a grim smile, spoken like a true Deathworlder. Another wave of enemy fire rained down. The cruiser shuddered, its hull screaming under the strain. Kayla's instincts roared inside her. "If we stay like this, we die." She grabbed Alex's arm. "We must strike their heart." "The flagship," the crew gasped. One whispered, "That's suicide." Kayla's voice cut through their fear. "Everything dies, but not everything lives with meaning. Strike their heart, or all of this is nothing." Alex's gaze locked with hers. For a heartbeat, the command deck was silent. Then he gave the order. "Helm, set course for the flagship." The crew stared in shock, but no one disobeyed. Slowly, the cruiser turned, engines burning, heading straight for the giant ship. Kayla stood firm, her body tense, her eyes unblinking as the flagship grew larger on the screen. It felt like charging at a mountain, but she did not flinch. She was a Deathworlder. The first blast slammed into them. Metal ripped, alarms screamed, but still they advanced. "Return fire," Alex barked. Every gun blazed, tearing into the flagship's hull. The smaller ships scattered, trying to block them, but Kayla pointed, called, guided. Her instincts made the crew faster, sharper, deadlier. One by one, enemy escorts fell. The cruiser cut through the storm like a blade. But the flagship loomed closer, its central cannon glowing with deadly power. "They're charging their main gun," a crewman cried. Kayla's heart hammered. If that weapon fired, everything would end. Her voice rang out. "Then we strike first." Alex's hand slammed on the console. "All power to forward guns. Fire everything!" The cruiser unleashed a torrent of destruction. Bolts, torpedoes, beams, all slamming into the flagship's front. The giant ship staggered, its shields cracking, flames licking its hull. For a moment, victory seemed possible. Then the flagship's central cannon fired. A blinding beam ripped across space, slamming into Alex's cruiser. The entire ship screamed like a dying beast. Panels exploded. Flames tore through corridors and the deck buckled under Kayla's feet. She hit the ground hard, pain flashing through her body. Voices shouted in panic. Some were cut off by fire. The smell of smoke and blood filled the air. Alex dragged himself upright, his face streaked with soot and sweat. He looked at Kayla, eyes fierce even through the chaos. "We're not dead yet." She forced herself up, her body aching but her spirit blazing. She had lost everything once before. She would not lose again. Her claws dug into the railing, her voice a growl. "Then let us show them what Deathworlders truly are." The ship burned around them. The flagship loomed larger, preparing to fire again. Kayla's golden eyes blazed with fury. She whispered almost like a vow, "If we fall tearing out their heart." The deck shook. The crew braced. The void roared, and as the flagship's cannon began to glow once more, Kayla and Alex prepared to strike with the last of their strength. The flagship's cannon glowed brighter than a star, gathering energy for its killing strike. The crew of Alex's cruiser clung to their stations, faces pale, eyes wide. Smoke choked the air. Metal groaned like a dying beast. And yet two figures stood unbroken. Alex Carter, commander of Earth's fleet, and Kayla, the last daughter of her people. Deathworlders. The galaxy wanted them erased. But here they stood side by side, facing the impossible. "Main gun will fire in 20 seconds, a crewman shouted, voice breaking with fear. Alex's hand tightened on the railing. He looked at Kayla. Her armor was cracked, her body bruised, yet her golden eyes burned with fire. She met his gaze, and in that silent moment, no words were needed. They understood. This was their stand. Kayla stepped forward, her voice cutting through the smoke. "If we strike their weapon core, we end this. One chance." "No second try," Alex nodded grimly. "Then we hit it with everything we've got." The crew looked at him in shock. One whispered, "Commander, that's suicide." Alex's voice rose, strong and steady. "It's survival. You've seen what they're willing to do. If we fall here, humanity falls with us. If we fight, we carve a place for all Deathworlders. Now fight." His words lit the crew like fire. For the first time, they stopped trembling. They stood straighter. They believed. Kayla felt pride swell in her chest. Humans were more than survivors. They were leaders. "Helm," Alex barked. "Take us straight into the cannon's mouth." The cruiser roared forward, engines screaming. Enemy ships swarmed, firing desperately. But Kayla called their weak points, guiding the guns. One after another, enemy vessels fell in burning trails. The path opened, but the flagship loomed, its cannon almost ready. Kayla's claws dug into the console. Her voice was steady, fierce. "Forward. Do not stop." The flagship's cannon lit fully, a blinding glow across the stars. But Alex's cruiser was already upon it, firing every weapon left, blasting through armor, tearing into the weapon core. The deck shook like thunder. Kayla was thrown to the floor, flames licking the walls. Alarms wailed. The flagship screamed as its cannon ruptured, energy tearing through its body. Then came the explosion. It was not a simple blast. It was a sun being born. A wave of fire consumed the flagship, swallowing it whole, ripping its massive body apart. Enemy ships scattered, fleeing in terror as the explosion lit the void. The cruiser tumbled through the blast, metal tearing, systems dying. Kayla forced herself upright, coughing through smoke. She saw Alex still standing, blood on his face but eyes steady. The fire cleared. Where once had been the flagship, now there was only wreckage. Silence followed, broken only by the crackle of burning metal. "They're retreating," a crewman whispered in disbelief. "The fleet? They're running." Kayla's heart hammered. They had done it. Against all odds, they had survived. Alex's voice was low but firm. "We're not finished yet. Record everything. Transmit it. The galaxy will see what happened here. They'll know Deathworlders still stand." The crew moved quickly, sending out the truth into the stars, the forbidden history, the battle, the destruction of the flagship. The lie of weakness was broken. The myth of extinction was shattered. Kayla stepped beside Alex, her body aching, her soul burning. For so long she had believed she was alone. Now she saw the truth. She was not the last. She never had been. Humanity had been there all along, waiting. She looked at Alex, her voice soft but steady. "You have given me back what I thought was lost." He met her gaze, his scarred face lit by the glow of dying fires. "You gave us the same. Humanity has always survived alone, but now, we are not alone anymore." Silence hung between them, deep and powerful. In that silence, Kayla felt something she had not known in years: hope. The crew cheered faintly, voices rising in relief and triumph. The ship was broken, battered, but alive, and so were they. Kayla turned to the stars, her golden eyes fierce. She spoke not to Alex, not to the crew, but to the galaxy itself. "You tried to silence us. You tried to erase us, but Deathworlders do not vanish. We endure, we rise, and we will never be forgotten again." The words carried like a vow, like thunder across the void. Alex stepped beside her, his voice joining hers. "Let them come. Humanity stands ready." The two Deathworlders stood shoulder to shoulder, their ship drifting among the ruins of their enemies, their message spreading across the stars. The galaxy would never look at them the same again. And in the silence of the command deck, Kayla smiled faintly, her voice a whisper only Alex could hear. "Maybe the galaxy isn't ready for us, but it will learn." The stars burned brighter as if listening,